Gentlemen, welcome to the episode of The Locker Room. I'm here with Toddy Carney. What's going on, brother?
Not much, mate. Freshly retired, coming off a grand final loss at the League Legends last weekend, so life's good.
Yeah, how was Legends of League? That looks like a cool concept that's growing. Looks like it was bigger than last year.
Yeah, it was a great event. I turned up on Friday, had the lunching and with Steve Menzies, Danny Badiris, and Wendell.
Yep.
It was a good day. And then obviously Saturday was really good. The event was great. And a league lover playing against me in the first game against Manly, and obviously Cliffy Lyons and that played was it's just a buzz, and like they had all the legends there, and everyone enjoyed it. And I was talking to Mick Crocker about it. He said it's a league player's dream. It's just it's a reunion, it's a catch up, and everyone had fun. And Bulldogs took it out again, all over the cap. But
and they've been training ever since last year as well.
Yeah, they've been training, which is good. But it was good to see everyone, blokes that I've played alongside, Terry Campese, Michael Wayman, and then obviously plays that I'd never got an opportunity to play against in my career. So it was a great event.
And they actually got in contact with me, the Bronx, to play with them, and I wish I could have because it looks like a ton of fun because it's not like you're doing scoots out of your own and getting absolutely bashed kind of thing. But yeah, obviously I'm too busy at the moment I can't get injured. But what do you reckon? Is there any plan next year, as in to grow it bigger or whatever?
I think so. I think Matt Hill, the bloke, the organiser of it, he's definitely said it's on again next year.
Yep. And
I'm sure it'll be a big event again. Everyone's seen what their success was like this year and obviously the year before.
Yep.
And I can only see it getting better and bigger, and more players want to play. Obviously, a few more players retired this year. Hopefully, we can stack the Barbarians up a little bit more.
So the Barbarians, is that Canberra?
Nah, it was mismatch. So like players, because there was Brisbane, Parramatta, Manly, Newcastle.
Okay, yep.
Who else was there?
Bulldogs,
Bulldogs and the Barbarians. So the blokes that didn't have a club, like obviously that was representing that day, come to the Barbarians.
Yep.
And Matt King pulled out because he went on the trip with the Roosters boys to LA Vegas.
Okay, yeah.
So I took his spot. So it was good. I enjoyed it. Had a fun, and it was a bit of a laugh. And
any stories from the boys on the weekend?
Nah, it was good just to catch up with everyone.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I know Dell sort of passing, but I spent a couple of days with him. He's just a character and a good bloke, and it was a good laugh. Mace was great. He's always the man of the crowd, and he was good. It's just the way it was. The crowd got into it. All the boys are fun.
Yep.
I enjoyed it.
It's a good concept, especially if you could get quite a bit more backing towards it and build it up, advertise. I think people would really like to enjoy it and not make it kind of like a Sevens feel where it's like a festival kind of thing.
Yeah, well, there's out the back we had a fan zone with so after your first game you had to go out and do a media call thing with all the young kids out the back. I have my sister and her little ones there, and they loved it. They enjoyed being out the back. They didn't really go out and watch the sort of the rugby league side of it. They just enjoyed being around with the kids out the back and having fun, and that's what the day's about. And getting back to the legends having a game of footy.
And how about yourself? You've got the new gig in Byron.
Yeah, I've just signed at Byron Bay. I'm really looking forward to it. It's sort of had little opportunities to go back to England. Not really an opportunity to pursue another crack at NRL or try and get back in the NRL.
Yeah.
I've been speaking to Byron now for probably 2 years. I go there every year, usually for New Year's, and I spoke to Ben Webber there, and he introduced me. I got introduced to him a few years ago now, and he mentioned it, and then when he hit me up this year, I just said, let's make it happen, and it is. And I've always said that one thing I want to do when I finish playing rugby league is give back to the game, because as much as I've had downfalls in my career, rugby league's made me who I am today, and I'm grateful for the game. So for me to go and give back to rugby league in the Northern Rivers and for Byron, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. It's going into the unknown, like I was just saying before. It's a new challenge, but it's a challenge I'm happy to accept.
Do you? What's the biggest unknown, do you think? What do you reckon is going to shock you the most?
I just think, for me, it's going through my head how I'm going to run training, how many people are going to be at training, how you split it apart. I think the hardest thing for me is going to be is picking a team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because the boys and your mates and as well.
And because I've had a lot of coaches in my time, and I reckon still to today, when they're picking their 18, and if you're not in that 18 or you're close to it, they avoid you.
Yeah,
they don't
so
want to
true.
go, you're not in the team this week, or you're 18th man this week, or
Yeah.
you're on the bench this week. So that would probably be the hardest thing.
Yep.
I'm going to get a few blokes to help me in that area, because I think as a captain coach, the blokes in your team will get sick of your voice as a captain coach.
Yep.
I want to be able to turn up to training, train, and then have someone else help me with that coaching side of things.
Yeah,
'Cause
okay,
I want
yeah.
to still be able to do all the sessions, be involved with the boys, show that I'm not just a coach, that
Yep.
I'm there to play to. So I'm going to have a good support staff around me and stuff. But yeah, I think the difficult thing will be picking that team, and obviously you're going to have blokes disappointed.
Yep.
I think, and also obviously how not serious, but how hard I make training, or like how professional it is. Obviously,
Yep.
it's going to be professional, and there's going to be times where we do a little bit of hard work.
Yeah.
But I've got to understand every bloke in my team or in the club at Byron have life outside of rugby league. So
Yep.
rugby league's not number one for them, where for me, rugby league's number one since I was 17 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
So I didn't have nothing outside of rugby league, but these guys have got jobs, they've got their own businesses.
Yep.
So if they can't turn up to training, they can just ring me and go, oh, I've got to go to work, where
Yeah.
I'm used to, I can't turn up to training.
You're getting
'cause-
dropped.
Yeah, you drop because
Yeah.
you don't have work.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
things like that, for me as a coach, I'm just going to try and give as much rugby league knowledge as I've got
Yep.
to everyone in the club, and what they do outside of rugby league's up to them. If they want to do extra weights, extra fitness,
Yep.
I know I will be, and if they want to join in and do that, that's up to them. But
Yep.
I'm not going to be like someone who's going to go, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? Because
Yep.
at the end of the day, it's just a chore for them, and
Yep.
it's something that they enjoy outside of their own work. So
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to be faced with different characters, different people,
Yep.
how I handle them, how they handle me. So it's good. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you think? I mean, you're probably not thinking this far ahead, but is it something that, let's say, you enjoy it and you find that you're actually a decent man manager, and you can draw on the experience you've had? Is it something that you'd eventually like to move up the ranks, or not really? It's more you just enjoy footy. You want to play a bit of footy and be in
Yeah.
it.
So for me, like I said, football, rugby leagues gave me so much in my time.
Yep.
It's more of a giving back to the game. I
Yep.
don't see myself going to the highest level.
Yep.
I feel that I don't think I'd enjoy it.
Yep.
I've been in the spotlight enough in my career, and some say I didn't handle the spotlight too well.
Yep.
So for me, it's just to give back to the game,
Okay.
enjoy it, have other things outside of rugby league. I'm looking to start my own elite academy
Yep.
in all sports,
Yep.
speed and agility for any code, and then obviously elite specialised training for halves, hookers, and fullbacks.
Yep.
And then just sort of just having things outside of rugby league that I enjoy. I'd love to do love to do the Gold Coast Marathon one day.
Oh, really?
I want to do the Dakota Trail at some point.
Fuck.
So things like that. I want to do like feel good things that that people have that can see that there's a different side of me. I'm not going to do it just so they think I'm a good bloke.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Deep down, I know I'm a good bloke, and
Yeah.
people close to me know I'm a good bloke. I want to do it because, one, it will challenge myself mentally and physically.
Yep.
And I'd like to bring people along that journey with me to do it.
Yep.
And it might bring them out of their comfort zone, or it might be their choice of what they do, and they might help me get through something like that. So little things like that. But yeah, probably nothing ever professional as a coach.
Yeah.
I'd like to help out at NRL clubs with running the water or something like that would
Yeah.
be great. But yeah,
Nothing
for
to-
now, it's just to give back to the game. It's what's gave me so much.
Yep. And yeah, take us back to young Toddy Carney. Where were you born?
I was born in Goulburn, New
Goulburn?
South Wales. Yeah.
I was working in Lisbon. We were staying in Marulan. I was working
Marulan,
in
okay.
above ground mine.
Okay. Yeah.
Fucking freezing, bro.
Yeah, freezing cold in winter, hot as anything in summer.
Right.
Yeah, so I was born in Goulburn, and I grew up there. I was just a normal little kid, I guess. Liked to keep to myself, and I think I started rugby league when I was 4, and I hated it.
Oh, really?
Didn't like it. I played because at that age you have to play under sixes.
Yep.
My dad loved rugby league, and I think I had obviously got 2 older sisters, and
Yep.
the day I was born,
He was off.
it was just like he's got what he wanted, and
Yep.
and pretty much he made me to the rugby league player I am. He forced me to do the thing. Holidays weren't holidays, so I trained.
Yep.
And I look back now and go, I used to hate it.
Yep.
We'd go on holiday to the Gold Coast, and he'd be looking in shops looking for protein when I'm
No
12.
way.
So things like that. But yeah,
Far out,
I
that's
love,
far ago.
and I obviously started to love the game. But I
Yeah.
remember my first year playing under sixes when I was 4.
Yep.
I'd hate to get out of the car. I'd have to be bribed with lollies or $5.
Really?
Yeah, so some sales paid early as a kid. But yeah, so I grew up in Goulburn. Played right up to under 16s in Goulburn.
Yep.
Done all developments at Canberra.
Yep.
And I was lucky enough in 2003 to start full time at the Raiders.
Yep.
Under Matty Elliott. So it come across quick, and if I look back now, I probably wish I finished school.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it was the downfall or anything, but I feel I had to grow up a little bit quicker than I did, and
Yeah,
I probably
yeah.
didn't grow up in some areas, but
yeah.
I guess I was just thrown straight in the limelight. And I
Yeah.
think everywhere I've been, if it was good or bad, media has, I don't know, come to me. I don't know if it was the tattoos or the wild hairstyles I
Yeah,
had, or
yeah.
if I was just the new kid on block in Canberra.
Yeah. I guess also
But-
you're a really good, on top of the tattoos and the haircuts, you're a gun coming through. I mean, obviously you wouldn't say that, but outside looking in, you were the next guy coming through kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So yeah, I sort of was thrusted into it quite early.
Yeah.
And while I did enjoy it, if you look back on your career like everyone does and say little things that you want to pick up on or change, maybe it would have been just to finish school and stay around guys my age for a little bit longer.
Okay.
But like I said, it's where I am, and it's what made me who I am. So,
Yep.
and I believe everything happens for a reason. Obviously, not some negative things, but
Yep.
you're put in positions and places to test who you are.
Yep.
And I've enjoyed the ride.
And so take us to the most hilarious or outrageous or just something that your dad did training-wise. Like, for example, my dad, he used to think, like, we were like 14. I was like maybe 10. My brother was like 13 or whatever. And we were state champions at the time running, but he still thought he could beat us.
Okay.
So we were at States the day before our 100 metres. And he's like, boys, I'm still got you. Like, don't think he's faster than me. We got to the line. Boom, gun goes off. Hammy gone. So he was limping around the Queensland titles the whole week with like fully off the bone hammy gone. And we gassed him obviously because he's not that quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there any more outrageous stories of your dad?
My mates would have so many, but like I said, he made us train.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just me. Like he took a liking to all my mates and
Yeah.
everyone he coached. He coaches from say under 10s right to under 16. So
Yeah.
blokes would come over to my house and he'd go, let's go for a drive, and we'd be like, oh yeah, sweet. So we'd get in his truck. But you sort of notice, you look in the back of the truck, there's like 4 bikes.
Oh,
And we're like, what's going on here? So we've all piled in the truck.
Yeah.
I've got my dog in the back, and all right, so we're driving. We're not going to the place he told us to. So he drove out of town about 30 k's and stops and goes, all right, ride back in. I'm like, so I don't know where he's pulled these bikes from. There was like old mountain bikes. Instead of the handlebars twisted under, he's had them twisted up so you could sit upright. And there was always like the one bike that had no gears that was going to be the hardest.
Oh, yeah.
So like we'd all get out of the car, jump on the bikes.
Yeah.
And he'd look, and I'd be try and get on the good one. He'd go, no, you're on the hard one. Instead of him driving off, he'd go get it in front. The dog would be running next to us, and we'd be all pedaling all the way back into town.
no way.
He would follow us the whole way. Even once we got into town, like where there'd obviously other traffic coming around, he didn't bother. He'd just follow us all the way, get back home. Like, oh, that was a good day. But yeah, heaps of times. There's so many things like on holidays and stuff. Like I said, instead of going shopping, he was looking to buy us protein. And because he helped in the juniors, coached juniors at the Raiders, he knew what our program was. So like, when you're in the development squad, you get a training thing. We had to do it to a T. So go to the beach, do our fun stuff, go to Wet and Wild, Dream World, whatever. But that afternoon, I'll get your shorts on, boys. I'm like, where are we going? Over the park. And one of my best mates, Mitch Anthony, he always like, when we have a few beers, he always sits here and he goes, like, because we always like reminisce of like my dad and stuff. And he'd go, all I can remember on holidays was, go. Just sitting at the other end, just said no whistle, stand at the other end, hand in there, go. And it was just a dreaded, like you'd dread that day at the holiday when you walk in the room and go, come on boys, let's go get it done for dinner. So, but like I said,
Puts you in good stead.
It puts you in good stead of where I am. And And like I always think when Mum always says, you reckon you'll be as hard on your kids when you do, well, obviously if I do have kids at some point, you reckon you'll be as hard on your kids as your dad was about rugby league? And I said, I guess so.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to force my kid if it was a boy to play rugby league, but I think if they
wants
chose to I would probably be that dad. Come on, let's go do some training.
Mate, I'm the
so
same.
that's probably the biggest memory or the craziest thing that he used to do,
It's funny how when you're younger, like it's only probably the last 3 or 4 years for me where I've started to look to my dad and go, I get it, man. Like I get what you did, like your discipline, it wasn't too hard on me, but like, for example, if we played poorly and he might be a bit disappointed, you know, my mum would be like, why are you disappointed? And at the time, we'd be like, yeah, why? Like, it's, you know, we played poorly, but now I look back, I'm like, yeah, be disappointed. Like, I didn't have a crack. Like, I should have a crack every single time.
Yeah.
It's funny how you look back now.
Yeah, we had a little code from when I was playing because at times, or if I was playing bad, I wasn't taking the line or running the ball.
Yeah.
So I'd have to look to the sideline and he'd be sitting there either doing that or that. So I'd find where he'd sit before a game.
Wow.
And like he'd either thumbs up or thumb down. If it was thumb down, I didn't want to get off the field.
So he was like, you're not playing.
If we were driving 2 hours from Sydney to Goulburn, I wouldn't get spoken to.
Wow.
I'd sit in the back and Mum would jump in the back seat with me.
Yeah, same, bro.
And she reckoned she'd sit there with her hands going, please don't start on him in the car. But like I said, it's made me the player I am. Yeah.
It sounds harsh in today's society, but that's the same with my dad. Like it wouldn't be not speaking to me because he's like trying to hurt my feelings. No. He just wants his son to be the best. Well, to be the best he can be, and it worked. Like 100% worked. Like the same with you fucking won a premiership. Was at what point did you realise that you had maybe, and it's hard for boys to talk like this, but more talent than the other kid? Were you making the rep sides and everything like that, or not really?
I made the rep sides. I probably wasn't still the talentedest.
Yeah.
I was quite little for under 12s. I remember I got picked in New South Wales CHS.
Yeah.
And I was on the bench, and that was like a shock. Not a shock, but like not CHS. I was in primary school, sorry, and then it was like, I thought maybe I was going to be starting or something like that. So, and then I started to realise after that, and then I started in the Canberra system and started getting better. And I still didn't realise I was good or like better than anyone. I never walked around like I was better than anyone until probably I went to a tournament for CHS trials so I played for South Coast, I think it would have been. And we played against Riverina and all that. And like when the side was announced and there was a pick the player of the tournament, and I got picked from it. And like we didn't win many of the games and that leading into it, and that's when I started to realise maybe I've got something.
Yeah.
And then obviously in 2003 when obviously Matty Elliott called me in and said his words were, "Why do you go to school?" And I said, "Oh, pretty much to play rugby league. I'm moving to Canberra to go to either Dixon or Arundel College." And he said, "If that's the point, why don't you just come train full time?" And that was a dream come true for me and a dream come true for my dad, I think. Straight away I went home, asked Mum and Dad if that was all right, and they just said yes straight away. And that's where it went from.
Wow. So were you straight in the first grade squad?
So straight in the full-time first grade squad.
Fuck. And how old were you? 16?
So I was moved to Canberra when I was 17.
Okay,
so I trained full-time, lived at the Institute of Sport. Me, William Zilm and Matt Wallace.
Okay.
We got a special, not really a scholarship at the AS, but the club paid for us to stay there because we obviously weren't really old enough to live on our own and get by. And trained full-time, missed all under-20s and played reserve grade that year.
So missed under 20s in the sense of...
Yeah, they just fast-tracked me into reserve grade when reserve grade was reserve grade. So, I played that whole year in 2003 and I was fortunate enough in 2004 to make my debut against the Bulldogs.
So what about you're 17, you rock up to Raiders first grade squad, and also for people listening, Canberra is obviously a more quiet town. The Raiders were notorious for being a close bunch, but also a very rowdy bunch. What was it like rocking up to that?
It was quite scary, like a kid from Goulburn, very... Like, people probably look at me now and go, there's no way he's shy or he's outgoing. And I'm outgoing with my mates and people that I'm comfortable with. But that kid walking in, because I know Jason Croker because he's from Cronulla and like he's a family friend.
Yeah.
So I've rocked up looking for him, and I sat next to him. I just kept following him around because I felt comfortable and knew that I could speak to him. So it was very daunting. And then obviously, as you do when you're a man in the showers and stuff, after each session you have to go have a shower, get your kid off. I'm standing in my shorts all the time, and they go, "Get it off." I'm like, I'm not getting it off. Like I was, and I don't think, and I still do it today. I like to do my hair. Even when I train before the games. Now I don't before I go straight out, but if I get up in the morning and go into the ground, I'll do my hair. And I was always doing it, and it obviously annoyed some of the boys that I'd always come with my hair done and stuff like that.
So because Canberra's like more country boys, it's a lot rougher than say Sydney Roosters or something like that.
Yeah. I got that shock, obviously, after I left Canberra to go into the Roosters, how different it is.
Yep.
That you get dressed up to go for coffees.
Yeah.
I didn't drink coffee in Canberra. Didn't know what a sushi train was or anything like that. It was just
different.
Yeah.
I was in similar situation. I was a soccer player, and like I was with the 19 boys, so it was like they weren't as aggressive in what they wanted. But I got put up to Clydesdales at the end of the first year, and I was the same. I would shower just in my undies, and all the boys were. And so I think it was Neville Costigan just come up behind me, just got me undies and just like ragdolled me with. And I think it was like rest in peace, Joey Clark. I think he passed away, but he was also. They both ragdolled me and ripped me undies off and threw me out the window of the changing rooms in Clydesdale. I was like, mate, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? Because I come from soccer, it was nothing like that.
Yeah.
But just like an old school thing.
Mate, I think it comes with age too, because I know when young blokes have come in the sheds as I've got older and more of a senior player, I'm like, get them undies off.
Yeah.
What are you hiding? Yeah. It's the same thing. Get it off.
Yeah.
So that was probably that first day was very daunting because for me, I didn't feel like I deserved to be there.
Yeah.
I was a kid. I'm sitting in the sheds with Ruben Wiki, Jason Croker, Simon Wolford, and then as time went on, Jason Smith, players that I sat in front of TV watching going, I want to be that person one day. And even when I was like back home in Goulburn playing in the backyard, kicking the footy, I was calling out blokes' names instead of being Todd Carney.
Yeah.
About Bags being Andrew Johns.
Yeah, 100%.
2 years later, I was playing against him. So I was like, it was all come really fast and it was a shock. And that's the beauty of rugby league.
It can just happen like that.
It can happen like that. And so it's been good.
So the debut, how did the debut come about? Was it a phone call?
Like I was playing, Matty Elliott always said to me that he was never going to throw me straight in and just play week in, week out. He was going to blood me. So I think my first year was 4 games. So I was against Bulldogs at Central Coast Stadium where I played the League Legends the other day.
Oh, really? Fucking nice.
Against the Dogs. I come off the bench and I had Big Mace running at me.
Oh, and this is prime Mace too.
This is prime
Dogs
Mace.
of War.
Yeah, Dogs of War, terrorising me, and we always laugh about it. And he goes, because I spent a bit of time with Mace here and there.
Yeah.
And he goes, I still don't remember that little cheeky face. He goes, like, he was just into me, like, Rant obviously I was never going to put him on his back. Getting up, playing the ball, throwing his elbows around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it come about. And, it was.
Was he spraying you on your debut?
Not really spraying me. He just made presence that he wasn't going away.
And
that's the way he played.
That's footy.
But I obviously remember it, but it was just a blur.
It goes like that. Eh? Do you what about the phone call? Do you remember the phone call or anything like that?
No, I got called in the office. It didn't call me. Matty just called me in the office and said that he was going to give me an opportunity and that I'd come off the bench. Didn't know what position I'd go on at. And it just, like anything, it just shocks you. The first phone call is the mum and dad. I'm playing it. And at that point, I didn't like staying in Canberra. So the club didn't really know I was getting up. So I'd drive to Goulburn most afternoons and bring mum. I'm in the car on the way home driving to Goulburn and just sleep in my own bed because it's only 50 minutes down the road.
It's not too bad. It's decent, like the drive. It's not like you're traffic or anything. Like you're just straight shot.
So that was the first phone call and the excitement. So that was the start of it all. Yeah,
the start of it all. Did you have the blonde hair by then when you first debuted?
I think I had a bit of blonde hair.
Yeah, I think you did. I remember.
That's they say beauty or the downfall of your sister being a hairdresser.
Oh, your sister's a hairdresser?
I was a little guinea pig. At one stage, I had like a one line. I used to copy it off Matt Giddo, the rugby union player.
Oh, Matt Giddo, okay.
He used to have all the him or Matt Henjack. The bloke played for Western Force, played for the Brumbies.
Okay, yep.
I used to just copy it off people.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
all the styles, had pink at some points. But them styles are gone
pink,
now.
I remember that. So,
me and Jared Croker, we always used to put tips in
layer up.
hair.
There's some old photos of Croker that are so funny. Tootsie.
So he's a lot younger than me, Jared, and obviously he grew up in Goulburn, really close mates.
Yep.
We've always been known for the tipped hair and whatever. But I've noticed since he took over captain that
a lot more.
He's just I think they've pulled him in and stuff.
Okay, so you do 4 games the first year, and then the next year was a full year.
Yeah, pretty much a full year.
Yep.
When I'd sort of have a little slumps and stuff, they'd just move me back into reserve grade because at that point you could go back to a strong competition in reserve grade comp and
wasn't that big of a drop really.
Nah, so things you had to work on and then sort of lock myself into a stable position and played consecutive years. Yeah.
So when did like the hype start? You know, when there was you were in it. When did that kind of start for you?
I think pretty much the hype for me was straight away.
Yeah.
Because, like you said at the start, that I was a new kid on the block at Canberra, and I was the guy that I don't know, not to start the new era at Canberra, but there's a new excitement of a young kid coming through, and and there's a few of us along with it, but I always sort of copped the highlight of. That it was going to be on me and the start of the new era. But
so was it Dugan a year after you?
Yeah, so Dukes and that come probably 2 years after.
Okay.
So the year I left, he's pretty much started the year after.
Okay.
But he moved on too. So it's the blokes that I guess you can laugh about it now. Not really laugh about it, but it's
memories.
Memories, and. And people always say, you look back if the players that got moved on from Canberra were still there, what it would have been like. But you can't look back and you sort of look forward. But I was thrusted into it early, and I guess at some times I probably sort of too much.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so that you start playing some really good footy. Were they starting to talk about New South Wales or anything like that at that point?
I guess your name gets tossed about, not because at that time we had a fair roster in the New South Wales. I think at that time played obviously junior Kangaroos and played in the Prime Minister's third, done all that.
Yep.
So they were starting to get talked about, and I was playing really well week in, week out, and playing some good football.
So 2006, you're having pretty much your best year at the Raiders?
Yeah, 2006, 2007. And then my last year at Canberra was 2008. So 6 and 7 was probably my prime at Canberra, playing some good football and really starting to make the team my own,
there was a 40-metre drop goals. How many of them did you know? Surely that comes up with the boys on the banter. 40 metres is nothing.
Yeah, it was in Townsville actually against the Cowboys in Golden. I think it was Golden Point, and I remember the night after. I think I was with Jason Croker.
Yep,
he was there then, and I think it was Jason Croker and Mark McLinden at the time. We're after thinking we had a curfew or something. And Matty Elliott gave us that curfew that we had to have a certain time. And we're walking through the Strand at Townsville. We've looked up and we can see Matty still in the club, and we're like, we're not going home then. So we've off the right foot into another bar. But that was probably the
so first. The coach was still partying.
Yeah, the coach was still out, and we're thinking the time for the curfew. But that was probably a big highlight where you sort of make your mark on something.
Yeah,
was that 40-metre field goal.
What were you thinking as it's coming back to you? Just nail it.
Do you know what? I think people ask about some things in games, more so when I was at the Roosters, probably my breakout year.
Yeah.
What were you thinking in those times? I always talk to Piercy about it.
Yeah.
We send videos of or highlights of the game.
Yeah.
You don't think.
You're just doing.
It happens.
Yeah.
And even Sean Kent, that was probably our best years, mine and Skidsy's and Piercy's, and the whole club at that time, in fact. And you ask, where'd that come from, or what were you thinking here? It was just, it happened.
Yeah.
It was the way we trained. It was just sharp. Everything we were doing was sharp, and it was just how it happened. You can't teach it. It was just all right, I'm just doing it.
Yeah, I mean,
you're in the zone.
Yep.
And I guess everyone goes through those patches. But yeah, that field goal was... I've had some memorable field goals, actually.
Yeah, quite a few, actually. That's I reckon friggin' 3 in that year. Three just in that year. Fucking hell. What do you reckon about the golden point system? I'd rather golden try. What do you reckon?
We played golden try at the League Legends the other day, but I like golden point that. But actually, I reckon golden try because then it makes people obviously
want to score.
Yep. Where golden point's more
a field goal comp.
Going for the field goal comp.
Yep.
But it still makes it all exciting and stuff. I know some people don't like it at all and just have the draw like the Super League, but they've just changed this year.
Yep.
So they've got golden point now. But yeah, I get test players. It brings players into the moment.
Yep.
And who stands up the best. And
that's true. I didn't think of that as like you've got more chance of a big moment happening because you can score a field goal, whereas like tries are really hard to score. So you may have games just end like
that. Will just end that way because very rarely he's going to score in that 10-minute period, like unless it takes a freakish try or whatever.
Yeah.
So it sort of brings players into the own and players practice for it. I know, like this year at Newcastle with Piercy, he owned every moment he had.
Yep.
If it was either down to field goal or in golden point with his field goals.
Yep. No, definitely. I agree. So, 2007 is your best year at Canberra.
Yeah.
And then obviously the drama happens. The police chase or whatever, or I mean, walk us through that if you can. Walk us through.
Yeah,
that.
I just like I said, I made some poor choices at Canberra, and that was probably my poorest choice.
Yeah.
With things in Canberra, if I look back on things that happened as my career went on, obviously the famous Bubbler incident. That I don't push it aside because obviously it's an incident and something I'm not proud of. But if I look back, where I feel that I was crucified the most in my whole career was my time at Canberra.
Yep.
And I felt, and I know that things have happened since my Canberra days and my time off when I was in Atherton, what's or not, but I was punished for what happened in Canberra, obviously losing the remainder of my 4-year deal.
Yep.
And then having a year off in 2009, leaving Canberra, and then obviously the things that, like obviously the drink driving, which I don't condone.
Yeah.
But if I look back, the times at Canberra was when I was in, they say, so I guess people call it construction mode or whatever it was, but destruction mode, not construction mode, destruction mode. But it was disappointing and it sort of brings back shit memories, I guess.
Yeah. And so they say, all right, contract done, and then what's the next year for you like? You just working? You just going?
So at that time, after my meeting with Canberra, it was all like we went through a few different meetings of where it was going to be.
Yep.
The club chose to part ways, and then after that meeting, I was thinking, all right, so what's next? Sitting with my manager in a coffee shop, and he's like, oh, "What do we do?" We thought, okay, we get in discussion with a few clubs, and then the NRL come out and said, David Geller come out and said that 2009's off radars, you're not getting,
not going to get registered.
You can't sign anywhere.
Yeah.
So then I was like, what do we do? And then obviously I needed rugby league. I didn't have anything to fall back onto.
Yeah.
And I was still only quite young. Didn't really want to go to England because it was not long after my dad's death. When my dad was ill, so I didn't want to sort of leave at that time. So
was your dad ill before the chase? Before it all happened?
So, like people, not say, but people used to go, well, do you reckon that was the reasoning why? And I'm never going to say yes, it was.
Yeah.
Because that's taken the easy road out of it. Like people used to say, well, go into a rehab thing and say that you've got an alcohol problem, things like that. Or say you got depression or stuff like that. And I know it gets thrown around a lot, but that for me it wasn't. Was never going to be an option.
Yeah.
After that I signed in England.
Yeah.
And because I was going through the courts with the drink driving and driving while unlicensed, I didn't get so I'd signed a 4-year deal at Huddersfield Giants, packed my bags ready to go.
Yep.
My phone rang 3 a.m. one night. I'm like, oh no. And it was Richard Thurles from the Huddersfield Giants. And I go, hey mate, how are you? My bags are packed ready to go. And he goes, oh, I've got some bad news. I'm like, oh, what? And he goes, oh, your visa's been declined to come over.
Oh, fuck.
And he goes, what what do you want to do? And I said, what's the options? He goes, we can fight it, or he goes, it's not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. So I just sort of said straight away, it was 3 a.m, so I didn't really think about it. Next day, I rang the manager and we spoke about it. If I look back now, or not look back now, if I went back to it now, I should have fought it, because when I done my visa to go to Salford in 2017, they said if I'd fought it then, I would have gotten approved. It was just because I had I had a good behaviour bond, but it wasn't because actually the driving, was just the bond thing.
Okay.
So it could have been worked out that way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, that fell through, and I was like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And that's when I moved to Atherton. Mick Nasser from Atherton rang another player manager.
Yeah.
And said, we need a captain coach in Atherton. Who can we get? And I think it was, I don't know who it was. Gavin Orr, maybe, I think it was, said, why don't you sign Todd Carney?
Yeah.
The bloke goes, not a chance. He's not going to come up here.
Yeah. How far is it in Queensland? Up north?
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half from Cairns up in the Tablelands. So then my manager obviously worked together with, I think it was Gavin or whoever it was.
Yeah.
Spoke to Mick. We flew to Atherton. Got up there. And
what was that like when you got up there, got off a plane?
It was just like, so we flew into Cairns, we got to Atherton, met Mick and went around the ground, and obviously I lived in the pub once I did arrive there, worked in the bar. Like, so I've got there and like it was all good, like so we sat around and what you're doing like at a pub, we sat down, had a beer, had dinner, and Mick explained what it would be. Yeah. I sort of said that I didn't want to coach because I was only quite young then. And
we were like 22, 23?
22, 23. And I didn't want to, I didn't feel that I had any experience to coach. Yeah. And my best of my football obviously wasn't played before that. Yeah. Well, at that stage it was, but after my career, now if I look back, I was very raw and green. Yeah. So my mate Josh Blatch, played with him in Canberra in reserve grade and stuff. He took the coaching job, which made it easy for me to go there. Yeah, okay. I had the year in 2009. I look back now, I grew up a lot. Yeah. So I had to, like living on my own in Atherton. My mum moved there in the end for a little bit. She because obviously after that stage, my dad had passed away, and she just wanted to get away. She'd finished, gave her job up. Yeah. So she moved up there, but it was good. Like me and Mick are so close now. His family, Marie, and his son and daughters and stuff, we're all really close. And that was probably took me up to the Northern Pride the start of this year.
Oh, because you'd been up that area.
Been up that area before, and still wanted to sort of match it at a professional level, which was at the Northern Pride. Yeah. But yeah, Atherton, that's where it was. So
what was it like? Like just like in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, it was sort of like, it was really good. My first day at training, I turned up and like obviously because I'd had 4 or 5 years at professional at the Raiders. Yeah. I've turned up and blokes are coming 10 minutes late. Some blokes not turning up. It was 5 blokes. There wasn't really scheduled sessions, and I'm like,
yeah, what's doing?
What is doing? And I started second guessing myself if it was the right thing to do. Yeah. But then I thought, I just went to bed one night and I said, I'm just going to make it as what it is. I'm going to still train as hard as I can. Yep. I put on a fair bit of weight, actually. Working in the bar and eating all the food there. And he's got the best crumb steak I've ever had. So, like, some nights I'd be like, I'm going to have just grilled chicken and salad tonight or whatever. Yeah, yeah. And the next day I'd be like, can I have the crumb steak, chips, diet sauce? Bro,
pub food so good.
Mate, so it was just... But it was good. Like I enjoyed every part of it. Yep. The year before they didn't do so well. That year we went right through the grand final and got beat. Yep. Yeah, and I had a great time. Like I made very close friends and now family friends. That I can say that I've got friends for life there. And yep. I put that down as a highlight of my career. Yep.
Really?
To say, yeah.
Wow.
From a big downfall to go into somewhere in an unknown and accepting it and handling it, I think, was something that I felt that I've achieved something there by doing it. Where probably a lot of people thought, living in a pub, working in a pub, playing pub football, something's going to go wrong. And it was just it was all smooth sailing. So it was quite good.
And so that's 2007.
2009.
2009, sorry.
2009, yeah.
And then 2010, When did they start talking about getting back into
So
professional footy?
I knew that I was going to be allowed to come back to the NRL in 2010.
Yep. Okay.
I had a few meetings at that time, I'd met with Wayne he was at the Dragons for 2010. So
Oh,
I met
wow.
with him. I remember turning up to my manager Dave Rowley's house in Wollongong.
Yeah.
Wayne was already inside.
Yeah.
I drove there from Goulburn. I was sweating because you're meeting Wayne Bennett.
Oh,
You know
really?
what to
You're wigging
expect.
out.
I'm
Yeah.
like, and I walked in, he's just sitting there and I was like, oh no, what do I say? And I went over and obviously shook his hand.
Yep.
And Jared Coker come for a drive with me.
Yep.
And he just sort of sat on the lounge while we had a meeting
Yep.
about it. And Wayne told a joke straight away and everything was sort of
Sweet.
from there. But that year I signed for 2010. I signed at Roosters.
Yeah.
And that was sort of while I was in Atherton that had a sign. I'd agreed with Nick and
Yep.
the Roosters that Freddie was the coach at the time then. That I was going to go to the Roosters in 2010.
Yep.
And I guess, I think obviously the making of me as a player and my name was at Canberra, but I think my breakout year was that 2010 year.
Yep.
Under Brian Smith.
Yeah. Okay.
And the squad we had.
Yeah. So take us through that year. Like you rock up to training. Are you just like, because you've learnt so much and like losing everything, are you just so motivated just to be the best you can be kind of thing?
It was just sort of, so we rocked up first day of pre-season. Brian Smith took over from Freddie because he finished up that year.
Yeah.
My first meeting with Brian Smith was, you're going to play fullback. And I'm like, I've never played fullback. And like I said before, I'd left Atherton and I was probably I reckon I was 95 kilos.
Just too big for a half.
Too big.
Yeah.
I was too big for a half, too big for a fullback, definitely.
Yeah.
And like obviously I knew that I'd not training full time at Atherton, I was going to lose it anyway. And
Yeah.
he goes, oh, do you want to, you're playing fullback? And I'm thinking the roster, there was obviously Minnie there.
Yep.
And there was class players all along the group, and obviously Braith was the captain of 5'8", so I was like, all right. So I'm like, yeah, sweet. I'm not going to say no. I'm new to this club.
Yep.
Let's go. I'll do it. So from that meeting through the end of that year, I ended up switching halfway through the year to 5'8", but I started the year at fullback, and it was just, I can just remember like the training it took, and obviously the hours after and stuff. And at first, like I was like scared because obviously Minnie was the fullback, and then he went to the wing. But what he taught me in that time as a fullback, and like how he took it on his own to help me become the fullback I was. I wasn't great, but I pretty much played like a half, and playing inside outside Piercy and Braith was just made my job so much easier.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was the start of that, and like I said, I was back like the new kid on the block, first day of kindergarten, ready to go.
Yep.
And it showed that year the way we played. The Roosters year before, it was similar to what happened at Atherton the year before. They got finished at the bottom.
Yep.
And then we got beat in the grand final by the Dragons.
Yeah. So what do you reckon the most? I mean, that's pretty. Like, that's a team player in Minicello. Like, he could have been sooked about it. Like, fucking Minicello is one of the best fullbacks to ever do it. But he took his time to, like, sit down and...
he took his time to help me in every aspect of the game.
Yep.
Like, short stuff, how you talk, like the positioning stuff. Obviously, Smithy helped too, and Rowan Smith, Brian's son, was there too at the time. He took... After sessions, he was up kicking bombs, catching. That was the most dreading thing for me. I still remember playing... And I was hoping teams wouldn't get over halfway, or they'd kick before the 40.
Yep.
So because I knew that you wouldn't be a bomb.
Yep.
I remember sometimes I reckon I had my eyes shut.
Mate, it's daunting. It's like, not only is it the bomb hard, someone's coming for you.
Coming for me, yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
And that time I was playing against Lockyer, and
Yep.
I remember Chris Sandow put up a bomb once when he was at South, and he was just flying through and just bang.
It's Chrissy Sandow.
Yeah.
Could be.
His little shoulder chase used to throw him, but that was like that year just stands out from not just for myself that year, but everyone that played in that group.
Yep.
It was just like the memorable game against Tigers when Braith kicked the field goal after extra time to go into extra time, and Sean Kenny Dow's intercept.
And so 2011. What was that year like then? 2010 is a great year. 2010.
I guess that end of that year I toured with the Kangaroos, and then had groin surgery after it, and then I started I think if I look back now, I just went back into I'm not going to say the old Todd. I was just sloppy with the way I trained, my diet, and just everything like around the game. There wasn't professional side, and then I come back from my groins. Wasn't playing great football.
Sorry, the Dally M. Fuck, forgot about that. What was that fucking?
Mate, that was just
like. So that was your first year back.
That was my first year back. Yeah, it was just. I don't know. I'm still blown away to think about it.
Yeah.
I like when I'm at home and I see the medal and stuff.
Yeah.
I scroll through photos and stuff, and
when your name gets called out and you're at the thing and you're just like, mate, like I was in Atherton's like last year.
I took my mum there just because obviously she's been my biggest supporter, and I didn't I knew I had a good year.
Yeah.
And but I didn't think I was thereabouts when it went into behind closed doors of voting and stuff. But it was just like. You're sitting there and I started to sense things because there's reporters asking, when's your mum go home? And why are you asking when my mum's going home? And they're asking all these questions, and then every time the poll would come on, the camera would come on to you. Yeah. I'm like,
surely not. Surely not.
Yeah, I had no idea that I was, and then my name came out and it was, but like anything, it's getting an award like that. I think straight away, not to myself, I think to the team that you play around. They make you who you are. Yeah. They make you the player you are. And that's what that's all and I still think about it that way. And then if people ask what your highlight of your career is, that's not. It's a big highlight.
Yeah, but it's not
the main thing that stands out in my career.
What would be the highlight then compared to looking at that, everyone would assume that's it.
I always put it down to the 2010 season.
Yeah.
Was just from where the club come from the year before.
Yep.
What I learnt and what just being around that new group of players the Sydney Roosters.
And so close to a premiership.
Yeah. If we won that year, it would cap off a remarkable anything. Yeah. I'll probably retire.
I see, boys. Thanks.
But playing for my one test for Australia, New Zealand was a highlight. And getting an opportunity to play State of Origin, but I just can't go past the whole year of 2010.
Yep, the whole year. What about when you get the Blues call up? What was that like for you? Because again, last year you're fucking in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so it was sort of I was hoping I was going to get it in 2010 when I thought I was at my peak of my powers and playing really good football, but because I was playing fullback, obviously,
you didn't get the time to push into it.
Yeah, but getting the Origin call up was unreal. Because I was at Cronulla then, and obviously,
so 2 years before, you're in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, yeah. So, and that's why I sometimes look back, and I can't not look back, but just disappointed in some parts of myself. But you can't change it. But I've put myself in situations, and then situations fuck, how did I get here?
Yeah, such a long journey, but you did it in 2 years. You went from literally the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, playing bush footy, and
then the premiership. You played in a grand final.
Yeah, played got obviously the Dally M, and then got to represent Australia, which was
what was crazy for you, New South Wales or Australia, you reckon?
Well, Australia was at the back end of the 2010 season.
Yep.
And I was sort of obviously there's Lockie.
Yep.
There's all the class players in, and Sheensy told me straight away. He goes, "I'm going to play you one game, and unless there's injuries, you won't get any more." I thought I was going to play against but then comes to me and goes, "When we're in played at Eden Park, and he goes, "Oh, you're going to play this week?" I'm like, "Didn't you tell me you're going to play? I'm going to play in in one of the pool games."
Yeah.
So played against New Zealand. It was good. The week of that was just.
Who was your 7?
Cooper Cronk.
Oh, how good is that?
Yeah. And it was just that was just an unreal week. Still things that I was only young then too, just sitting there going, I'm in the presence of all these players. I think they're the things that I didn't appreciate as much. Yeah. That if I look back now, that I took for granted the positions I had myself in, I could have been in. Yeah. But like I said, my career overall, I I'm happy with, and obviously there's been so many downfalls, but my positives and the experiences and the people I've got close to and still have friends now outweighs everything. And people might say, well, I don't reckon, but I'm the person saying it, and that's experienced it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a journey, and a journey that I enjoy.
It's one of those strange situations, like even for myself, like, you know, I might not have fulfilled my full potential in the sense of like playing NRL games, but you don't know that for sure. Like, you could have gotten injured. Like, let's say you were on the straight and narrow from the get-go.
Yeah.
You could have done your knee and been out for it. Like, you just don't know. But where you are today is where you are, so you can't really sit there and be like,
I still pinch myself to what I've done.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, the unknown is you could have done a whole lot more, but so could have everyone.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And like, again, it's you just don't know. You don't know. You could have got injured. Like, your life is your life. Like, it's whatever's happened. But actually, take us back to the Dally M night. You get your name called. What was that like? You're just like, what the?
Right, first person I obviously turned to was obviously my mum, because she was there, and Brian Smith, because that whole year was, he put me in that room and said, you're playing fullback, and that was the start of the new Todd as a player, fullback. Got up and said my speech, and it was just a blur the night after, because we were preparing to play the Tigers that next week.
Oh, okay.
So, like, you had to stay around all the photos the next day, going on Today's Show and things like that. I'm like, what is this? Like,
it's like a dream.
Yeah, it was a blur.
Yep.
So that week and then leading in the game, I remember felt physically tired going into the Tigers game.
Oh, okay. Just 'cause
we got the win, obviously, and we went on to like play Penrith a week later, but Gold Coast the week. I think it was Gold Coast the week later.
I know, Gold Coast. It's touring.
But yeah, it was just like anything. Things when you're unexpected or when you're on a high, it's just a blur.
You're just in it. Just life is happening, and you're just like a passenger to it.
Yeah, and it didn't change me. Like, it's not like I felt like I was on top of the world. It's just like, it was just a blur. Like, whoa, was this happening?
Yep. Fucking hell, Dally M. Wow. And like the people you're up against, like,
yeah. And I always still look back, like, to the years later. 2010 was a poor year for myself, and obviously left from the Raiders then. But like, I look at my days at Cronulla.
Yep.
I still polled quite well and was up there like anything, but that was because at Cronulla we were going so well.
Yeah, okay.
Like, we didn't miss many finals.
Yep. And so when you went to Cronulla, what was, obviously the choice was Cronulla, like, you got with Roosters, was it because it was like you had a couple of misdemeanors with alcohol and that, and they were just... Yeah,
we had a curfew, not a curfew, like a complete alcohol ban, and another poor choice. Me, Nate and Frank poured Nulasar. We done a wrong decision and obviously got photographed out. And that was the last straw for the Roosters. And people say that I was sacked from the Roosters, but I wasn't. And I've still got a close relationship with Nick now.
Yeah.
And he spoke to my manager and myself and just said, like, if you can get a club, I'll release you. And that's what happened.
Okay.
Obviously, something happened for that to happen. So everyone out there that's got an opinion goes, oh, Will is sacked.
No, it was more just like, we think it's best that you move on because you're not fitting out.
Move on, and that was Nick Can for myself, and sort of said, like, just move on and sort of get away, and that's what happened. Yeah, and then moved on to Cronulla.
Yep,
and
the
same thing again was just like, all right, you have to start fresh, and when you do, that's how it was. It was going into a new club, obviously a new environment, and how you handle yourself, but it was really good. I enjoyed my time at Cronulla.
And so you're at Cronulla, and you clearly play. Now you get called up for New South Wales. It was in the first year too. Yeah, correct?
2012. Yeah.
What was what was it like? Beginning to play for Cronulla, but also, getting caught up wearing that Blues jersey. Fuck.
Yeah, I guess when you go to your new club and in that break from the back end of the Roosters to the new season at Cronulla was when I first started. I worked with Roger Fabry at Roosters, obviously at a club level, like he'd come into our speed stuff, and then after that he said to me, I want you to knuckle down and do like proper. So I was running with his elite running crew.
Oh, okay.
Obviously not as fast as him, but like they took me in as I was one of them.
Yep.
I was doing 3-4 days a week with him, and I was flying. Going into the pre-season at Cronulla was probably the fittest I'd been from training under Roger.
Okay.
So then, like, I got there and there was a few new faces there. Wade Graham was there at Cronulla, so me and him were the halves that year.
Yep. Wow, Wade Graham was a half. Jeez.
Because we were similar players, it sort of, we didn't clash, but it was just, both sort of playing the same thing. So when you got two blokes that just sort of play what's in front of them, we didn't really have like a structure.
Okay.
So then that's when they moved Jeff Robson in the halves and Wado into the back row, or
Yep.
lock, I think it was. Yeah, but so, yeah, we had a really good year and obviously went on to play City Country.
Yep.
And then was lucky enough to form a combination with Piercy again
Yep.
in the halves for Origin.
Yep.
We fell short, obviously, the Cooper Cronk field goal in the last game.
Yeah. What was it like though, the call? How did the call come about? How'd you find out?
Sticky rang me
Yep.
and just said that I was in. I was same again. I was just like, wow. And obviously going in there knowing that Piercy was going to be my half was a big help. And obviously Gal pushed really hard for me because he seen what I was doing at club level and, and made it sort of like got a bit of volume out there. That's the way he wanted to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. So like them, the weeks were a blur. Just I think all highlights just become blurs because you're in the moment and
it's so crazy.
It's just like, yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, like what about when you run out? Was it at Suncorp? So it would have been Suncorp game 1.
No, we played in Melbourne.
Oh,
First game was in Melbourne, and I remember sitting there and I'm looking around, and then like blokes were in their boots, and I looked down, I've still got me suit pants on, and like I was just like, and then I could heard a call 15 minutes for kickers because I don't get strapped or nothing before the game.
Yeah.
Touch wood, like with ankles, knees and stuff. So all I do is put one bit of strapping on my wrist and like, shit, I've got to get ready. So rushing to get ready. So it all comes so quick.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a new stadium, the roof closed.
Yeah.
And then running out to the Raw was just like, I remember my first tackle or first hit. I felt like I got knocked out because like it's just you're there now.
Like someone's like stressed.
Yeah, like a blur. Like someone's just flick the light switch on and say, "You come on, wake up."
Yeah, okay.
And it didn't, like, the first game we got beat, didn't play well.
Yeah.
But it was just like, well, you're here. Like, it went so fast.
What was the difference between an Origin game and a club game?
I think the pressure you put on yourself and just, like, how quick and everything's just there in your face.
Intense.
Like, yeah. Like you watch it. It's just everyone's a step in front of the ref. And, yeah, it was just intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, same again, you think to yourself, do you even deserve to be here? Like, it's, like, it went so fast, that series, and we were so close. Like many times New South Wales has been. But, yeah.
And, okay, so the set, what was it like running out at ANZ? That would have been cool.
Yeah, ANZ was great, and then obviously playing in Brisbane.
Suncorp
Was crazy.
Yeah,
mate,
they're maniacs.
The week leading up to it, and then obviously playing ANZ like in front of all your family and friends and stuff is just like they say, it's a dream come true.
100%, 100%.
You feel like you're in a dream.
Oh, and like you look back and it feels like you're talking about someone else.
Yeah,
like, it wasn't actually you that did it.
Yeah,
that's when you watch like videos, you're like, you're watching someone else do that. It's fucking
even like I watch sometimes, I always catch myself watching highlights. So there's a thing when I had a kick from the sideline.
Yeah,
like listen to Gus Gordon, I still get goosebumps thinking about when
like
he
saying your name out. And
yeah, when
100%.
He says it,
yeah, fucking oath. Okay, so. Yeah, first year you have a great year. Second year, what was the second year like at the Sharks?
So I snapped my Achilles at the end of 2012. The 2012 season?
2012 was your first year at the Sharks.
First year at Sharks, we played Canberra in the semi-finals. I think it was, 12 I snapped my Achilles, so... It was a long road for there, obviously 5 months.
Wow, fuck. Especially after such a good year, like.
Yeah. Then 13 we still had a great year. We got beat. I think we got beat by Manly. In the finals that year, and after I'd done my Achilles, I had a lot of trouble with my hamstrings.
Okay.
If it was because of, they reckon it sometimes can occur from the Achilles and stuff. So I had a year where it was up and down, a few injuries and stuff.
Yep.
And then I missed the finals against Manly that year.
Yep.
But the year was still great. I still played some good football.
Yep.
So yeah, it was that same year again. I didn't play. I think I was injured when the City Country was on.
Okay.
And I couldn't play in that year in the 2013 season. Then obviously didn't play Origin that year.
Yep.
With Jimmy Maloney.
Oh yeah, and that was what 2013.
13, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And the year the Roosters won the comp.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess you won Dally M5 that year.
Yeah.
So still a really, really good year for you.
Yeah, I had it, like my form and that was really good.
Yep.
And like I said, like 2010 was my breakout year. 2007, 6 and 7 in Canberra was my good times at Canberra.
Yep.
And then Cronulla, the Roosters obviously only had the 2 years there. The 10 was obviously my breakout year.
Yep.
And then my time at Cronulla, I still look back, was my most consistent as a player. And I started to make the team my own.
Yep.
Started to understand how it was to control a team, play like that. Obviously, you had Jeff Robson there in the halves with me. That sort of took a lot of that control side off me and just sort of let me play my own sort of free-flowing rugby league.
Okay, yeah, and then obviously the June 2014, the incident happens.
Yeah, that was like I still look back at me now and like it doesn't make me feel sick, but it's just I don't know. I remember someone sent me the photo, and I'm looking at it going, where is this? What is it?
Yeah.
Like, because I didn't know the photo was actually taken.
Okay.
Or it was sent out to anyone, and obviously at that point it was doing the rounds.
Yeah.
My mate or accountant sent it to me, and he goes, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." Like, and I thought, he's just got it sent from someone.
Yeah.
And then the next morning I woke up and it's everywhere.
Fuck.
And then obviously the club rings me and they come over to see me, and at that point, like, I knew that it wasn't good. It wasn't a great look.
Yeah.
It was if anything, it was just embarrassing to myself. And straight away I thought of my mum and sisters, what they're going to be copping and stuff like that. And then like the club Steve Noyce come over and we had a chat and he was like, "Oh, what is it?" And I'm like,
I'm just
that's
drunk.
What it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So you were just like on the piss, drunk.
Yeah.
And then just
and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That it was like he took it all.
Yeah.
And that it had been sent out. So like I had really no answers of like and the club thought it was in Brisbane the week before after one of our Broncos games.
Yeah.
And like and then I'd explain when it was, and through it all I didn't think that it was going to come to the point where I
get the sack kind of thing.
Get the sack, and then that's sort of when it happened.
Yeah, they were just like, "Look, mate, we're going to have to let you go." Kind of
thing. And like obviously I had quite a good deal there at the time. I had another 4 years to run on my 5-year deal, so I was sort of like shit. And then that was probably the biggest downfall. And then you know then that's like, oh, where to from here? And what's next?
Yeah. And what was the feeling like? Like obviously the embarrassment and everything like that. But were you just like frustrated? Like fuck, like just something so stupid. If I just had made that one decision, or you've kind of moved past that now mentally?
Mentally, I've moved past it straight away.
Yeah.
Because while it hurt the image of the game,
hurt
the image of Cronulla, and the image of myself, I'm comfortable enough to myself to say I didn't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Other than the image of things, and that's obviously hurting things and stuff like that, and disappointing people that supported me and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like I was bitter that ended my NRL career.
So, like, as in you'll put it in the context of, like, you know, there are guys that have done things that have actually hurt people.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there going, like, yes, it was stupid. Yes, I've made mistakes, but, like, fuck, like, it's not really hurting someone. So you're not, like, some people can do stupid things as long as it's not hurting
I just
people.
didn't think that would end.
Yeah, everything.
I didn't think things that I'd done at the time, like, I don't wake up and go, you know what, I'm going to go do this today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just a stupid thing, and I moved on from it so quick that I was thinking, oh, maybe everyone else will move on from it so quick, but it's so strange. Like, even today, like, you go past, like, it's been 5 years now.
Yeah.
I walk past people in the street, or, like, from out having dinner, or out having a beer with the boys, blokes go, oh, can't you give us a bubble? I'm like... It was 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
How do you even remember it? It's the best when I go to the toilet, like I walk in the toilet and please don't be people in here.
Yeah.
And it happens, like I was at the races a couple of weeks ago, and there would have been, at the races like to go in the toilets.
Oh, fuck, torture.
There's a line 400 metres for the cubicles.
And all the cubicles are locked. Yeah.
So
Everyone's
thought,
going to the toilet.
So I've gone to the trough and I knew straight away there was a group of young blokes.
Yeah.
And it just started, Carney, get us a bubble. I'm like, come on, boys, let it go. And then I looked to my right, and there's like 3 of them just standing there doing it. I'm like...
What, they were doing it?
They were doing it. I'm like, far out. You're hammering me.
Yeah. But
For something so stupid I done.
Yeah.
But you're there doing it. Like, so like sometimes like the boys always laugh, like they know when I want to go to talk.
But you don't want to go.
Because if I see someone go, I get up and follow them because like I don't want to be in that situation
by
on my
yourself.
own.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes like blokes probably doing it just to be fun, but then sometimes you go there
and it's a bit too like...
and blokes are like being serious about it, like, oh, whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like I feel comfortable going to the toilet with a couple of blokes,
Just like a chick, bro. You're a chick, bro. The chicks go to talk together.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
I don't laugh about it now, but I look back and say, yeah, sweet.
It was stupid, but...
It was stupid.
Whatever.
Like stupid. Heaps of people done stupid stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, you just said like the stream mates. Yeah, the stream mates beside you doing it. Yeah. And so 2015-16, Catalan Dragons.
Yeah, so I spent a couple of years at the Dragons.
Yep.
Another challenge, another like, far out. Where am I? What am I doing?
Yep.
Luckily, I knew blokes that there, so he flew into Barcelona, got picked up by one of the staff, and he didn't speak a word of English. Driving from Barcelona to Perpignan, 2.5 hour drive, I'm like trying to speak to this guy, and he spoke a little bit of English,
but not like conversation,
not enough to. So, and you sort of get dropped off to where you're living.
Yeah.
It was just sort of like, it was weird, but like enjoyable. Like, great place to live. Played some, like we had quite a successful time there. It was just another tick off. Like I never thought that I'd go to the Super League so young, but obviously with the situation that I was put in, I did.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it. Done a couple of years there and decided to come back and I'd spoke to Dragons a few times about coming back, but it didn't. It was still obviously quite green with the NRL, and they didn't sort of let it happen. Then after that 2016 season, when I got back, and I sort of got knocked back from the deal to start the NRL club, I nearly retired then. I was I'm done.
Yep.
I was back home in Australia just training. Obviously done the charity fight with Chrissy Sandow.
Yep.
So I was still obviously training and stuff.
What was that like walking after that? Were you shitting yourself?
It was quite... I sort of woke up one morning and my phone had like heaps of missed calls and heaps of messages. And I woke up and I looked at my phone and I was like, well, I didn't go out last night, so I've done nothing wrong. What's going on? I sort of looked and there's a photo of Chrissy Sandow calling me out. So like a few media people that I know had rang me, my mates are going, you can't let him call you out and not accept it. I'm like, accept what?
Well, I'm not even a fighter. What's going on?
And then obviously he'd called me out. The boys are going, surely you're going to do it. And I'm like, what? Yeah, I don't mind. And then, so I got in contact with someone that knew Matt Rose, the promoter of it all. And then that afternoon, so that morning I read it all. That afternoon I had coffee with Matt Rose at Tropicana in Coogee. And he goes, do you want to do it? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, you knew I'll do it. That's why you've always...
Yeah.
After all, they said, call him out. He's doing nothing in Australia. I wasn't doing anything at that time.
Yeah.
Call him out. So I said, I was never going to say no. I'm thinking, like, maybe Chrissy's a mad fighter.
No, it's scrapper,
What am I doing here? So, like, I accepted it. That night I rang Mark Gambin, and I work with him at Cronulla. He's our boxing coach. I've done all our, like, fitness with boxing. And I said, mate, I'm going to do a fight. What do you reckon? And he goes, yeah. He goes, sweet, but if you do it, I'm going to be on to you. I'm going to set your training. You're going to do it serious, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking charity fight, 10-ounce gloves, headgear, whatever else. So there, started training, doing whatever. And because obviously I found out after, it was a charity fight, but it was a professional bout.
Yeah, okay.
So there was a catch weight at that time I was 93 kilos, so my catch weight was 86. So that had 7 weeks, I think it was, to lose the 6 kilos.
Yep, and lose it healthily.
And then, so I had to start training with Mark, and then I get an email saying, "Oh, you got to go to this doctor to get your bloods checked to make sure you're willing and able to fight." And then you got to sign up to get
a license in that
boxing license. So no helmet, full fight, 8-ounce gloves,
8-ounce gloves, fuck.
Full boxing name, like full shoes.
Yeah. Full
everything.
kit.
I'm like, oh yeah, this is happening.
Yeah, legit.
And
legit.
then I didn't really, and obviously we all know Chrissy's can talk the talk and stuff, and he was like, I'm thinking this bloke's like a boxer. Like, what am I stepping myself into? I've never had a fight in my life. I don't reckon. Maybe I had one fight in Goulburn out the back of Flamingos. So I'm like, and Mum going, "Oh, what are you doing? You don't know how to fight." So I started doing the training and enjoying it. And at that time, Chico Seguiaro, he was in this limbo with his Leeds deal and coming back to NRL. So he wasn't training. So me and him trained together. Yeah. And it was so funny. Like, I remember we used to spar. I'd drop him, then he'd drop me.
So just going at it.
So it was like, and then some days I'd spar like proper boxers.
And they just touch you up.
And they didn't care who I was.
Yeah. No way.
Their life is a boxer.
Yeah.
And I'm just a rugby league dropout.
Yeah.
At that point, they're like, Mark would go, I've got this guy coming to spar you. And he sends Mark a photo. Him and his boxing. If he dies, he dies. Like old Dolph Lundgren, Ivan Drago. And I'm like, oh. So I've got there to spar this bloke. I'm thinking he's going to go easy, like we're just teaching me. Because a few of the boxers I sparred would teach me.
Just
this
touch you.
Just come and just
belted you.
Just give me. After I said to Mark, I said, don't invite him back. Because it made me
not want to fight.
Made me not want to do it. I was in the car driving home, my face wasn't busted out because of the helmet and that. But I was like, if he messages me tomorrow and says this guy's coming back,
I'm not fighting.
I'm going to make out I've got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So I explained it to him, and he understood. It just made me feel like, I'm not
no confidence. So I'm not a fighter.
Leading up to the fight, and then we had to do the press conference, the weigh-ins and stuff, full weigh-ins where you've got all boxers that were fighting on the night that do professional bouts. Obviously, I was quite comfortable because I had Gal with me. Yeah. Because he was fighting Paulo. But obviously the weigh-in. So the first mock weigh-in, which is for all the sponsors and the media, I was overweight.
Oh, fuck.
So then so I was a little bit over, and then so I left. I said to Mark, surely that's sweet. And he goes, no, we've got the proper weigh-in tonight at Scruffy Murphy's in the city. And I'm like, what do I do? He goes, I need you to go train. I need you to go sit in a sauna. So I was living with Boyd Corden at the time, and he goes, all right, let's just go down to the gym. So we went and sat in a bike, and we sat in the sauna for ages. And then I weighed in sweet and that. But at the weigh-in, Chris is eyeing me off, talking.
You're like, how
he's like, and then after, because I know him, I thought I'll go have a chat to him. And he sort of was half, not
didn't want a bar of it.
Nah, didn't want a bar of it.
So in your mind it's a charity fight, in his mind it's a pro boxer, and you're ready to scrap.
Yeah, so at that time I had long hair, not long hair, the man bun sort of thing going. So I stayed in Bondi the night before and went down, got me hair braided. I was 85, I think I was 85 kilos ringing wet. It was just a whole new experience. I'm like, how good's this? You're going to have a fight. So I turn up there, I'm out in the back in your own little room, and that Pierce here and that were coming in. Yep. I had 2 tables just all blokes I played with.
Oh, how good's
that? It was just so good.
Yeah.
And I'm walking out, and George Cambosis.
Cambosis, yep.
I love watching him train, watching him fight.
He's a gun fighter.
And there's a locker room near ours on the way out with Billy Hussein's fight, I think it was, and Billy Dibb was there, and him and George don't get along. I'm good mates with Billy too, so I'm so we've walked past, and I'm sort of got me cape on, ready to fight.
Go, ready to
music's
scrap.
About to start.
Rocky.
And I've looked over, and I've got obviously Chrissy and he's entourage that was walking him out, and then all of here was a scrap start, and there's
because there was
Georgie, Kembos, and Billy had a scrap in my hallway. So I had no one, because I had to break it up, obviously. I had no one to walk out with.
So you walked out by yourself?
Pretty much. I'm walking out looking back, where's me troops?
Where's my boys going
yeah,
to war?
I walked out and it was so fun. Like,
Yeah.
we were just throwing haymakers.
Yeah.
I think he slipped once. I think I might have chinned him once. I'm looking over him like, get up.
He's trying to staunch you.
But it was a great, like, for me, like, because I'd done, like, obviously I gave a bit away to a charity that's close to my heart with the Dementia Foundation and stuff like that. But yeah, it's something that I'll tick off my bucket list.
What about when you're in the ring and you're looking across? You're like, fuck, what's going on? Or you're just like, fuck, yeah, he's mad.
I was nervous. I could feel me lip quivering. I was like, where am I? Like, cause like you say, you're in there on your own. Like,
yeah, right.
There's
and like,
nowhere to run.
The thing, so like, I try to explain to people that haven't sparred before. Okay, think about how being as tired as you've ever been in a footy game. Now imagine a guy is punching your head in. That's what it's like. You're so tired, and you've got a guy punching your head in. Hey, what about in the fight? Were you just like?
Because I clipped him once.
Yeah.
And if I look back now, like Mark always says to me, if they ever do it again, to call him back out because he's doing nothing too.
Yeah.
Like,
and people would love that.
It's not bad coin.
Yeah, 100%.
I gave a bit of mine away, and like my tables, I sort of gave everyone their ticket.
Yep.
Just to like support me and stuff. But I just know, like, I don't know. 2 days before I sparred someone, I think I sparred Rennie, and he sort of fought like that.
Yep.
So I had in my head when I was fighting Chrissy, because if I look back at my fight, I'm sort of doing that. What the fuck are you doing? Well, the boy called his brother always takes a piss out of me. He goes, like I'm
old school. Those old school.
When that himself and Irene, when he fucking does something, he always takes the piss out of that. But in the fight, then a few days after, it was like we had a Mad Monday.
Oh really? Just went skids. Fucking hell. Oh yeah. Thanks so much, brother. Appreciate it. Bro.